Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to DBF1 Season 5, Round 3 and 4. Tonight we are at Suzuka in Japan and the Corniche Circuit in Jeddah. So we have just watched Durkee finish his second last lap. I'm sure he'll have time for another lap. He makes his way around to the pits. He's just 6.5 tenths quicker at the moment than Deck in P2 and just under 8 tenths to Daniel Hewitt in P3. Jess looking pretty quick up in P4, she's just jumped a few positions, she was P6 prior. Vitinho in P10, so he was looking pretty good for the championship, but he looks to be struggling a bit on this circuit. But we've got Daniel P. at the moment, who's not long started a lap. He's a good chunk of his time up in sector 1, so we'll stick with him as he comes through the Degnas. We'll watch the rest of his lap. A bit of a slide on the exit there, but I'm sure he can recover as he heads up to the hairpin. It's a bit sliding on the brakes a little bit there, but he's got quite a bit of battery left, so he's maybe abandoned this lap. I'm not sure. We'll see his sector 2 time. Yeah, he's definitely backed out. So we'll jump to Baza is not on a lap. Coutinho's on a lap though, I would say. So as he heads up to the hairpin. Although now I would say he's not on a lap either. So I'd say Scottish Goat is also not on a lap because his battery is very low. So jump to Jack Craig, who's just rammed a Red Bull of, I don't even know what his name is, K11, K81. So Jack Craig's no longer got a front wing on that car, I would say. He's missing his front right end plate, so that could be a call to the steward's room after the race. But we've got 3.5 minutes to go, so everyone's in at the moment. Jack Craig's going to fix his front wing. We've got Ryan Berry, who's just under 7.5 tenths up on his lap. He's a bit back from the rest of the group, but we'll see where it puts him. A second quicker, but only 2 positions gained, so a big gap between the cars in qualifying here. Is anyone else on a lap? No. Sheck Wace is on an out lap, so I think everyone else is in the pits, definitely. That's what it says on the side. Scottish Goat's going in. Anyone coming out? No, so we'll stick with Sheck Wace for the now in his Williams, coming through Spoon Curve. As he heads down to 130R. Just getting that tyres nice and brought up to temperature. Can probably do a few, probably four hot laps around here in the race. From experience myself, I would say that you're probably not going to use a soft in the race, depending on how good you are at saving your tyres, I suppose. But it's definitely going to be a mediums hard race here. We've got a few cars coming out the pit lanes now. Hopefully they're going to get out of the way of Sheck Wace as he heads down to turn 1. It's looking pretty quick, Sheck Wace. As that car gets nicely out of the way, is this McLaren going to get out of his way? Who's that? Jack Craig does not get out of the way. So everything he's going to gain from that, as Sheck Wace makes sure Jack Craig knows that he was in his way for his lap. But if he turns the battery off, he should get round for another lap before the session ends. As we've got a Red Bull of Durkee is now also in Sheck Wace's way, so a few cars blocking Wace on his lap, but what can you do? These things happen in Formula 1, I suppose. But we have got, so last season, season 4 of DBF1, our pole lap was a 27.266. Now that was on the previous game, so we're not expecting miracles. Durkee, who's pretty quick in qualifying, is on a 28.438 at the moment, so we're not expecting anything crazy close to a 27.2. Sheck Weiss has got himself, even with multiple blockages on that lap, he's got himself up to P2, 6 tenths off. Who knows where he would have been had he got that lap complete. But we've got Acorn, who's our next car on the technical lap, I would say. He's heading through sector 1 at the moment towards the Degner 1. He's looking pretty quick, pretty close to like sort of Sheck Weiss, so as he goes into the gravel there and has invalidated his lap, unfortunately for Deck. That was the end of his qualifying. So we'll go to Daniel Puyo on that, who's hopefully going to do a better lap than he did previously. No cars in front of him, so he shouldn't get blocked, but we've got a yellow flag. I think that's a race. He's slowing down to let cars pass, not doing what they did to him. That's what we like to see. Not taking spite out on our people. Take it to the stewards, they'll sort it out for you. Right, Daniel Puyo heads up to 130 yards, 2.5 tenths up to sector 2, so this could put him on the front row next to Durkee if he can keep this up through the final 2 corners. Comes around the final corner, he is going to be P2. 3.5 tenths quicker than his previous lap, 4 tenths to pole, so we'll go to Chris Johnson's involved. It's like Baza coming in the final 2 corners, I'd say he's abandoned his lap. Tony P just under 2 tenths in sector 2, so this would put him maybe a position up ahead of Jack Craig. Could be a Baza because there's only 1,000 between them, so we'll see where this keeps him. P7. He's jumped 3 cars there. Anyone else? James, Ryan Berry is doing his best Logan Sargent impression. Coming out the final corner, but that's it. That was qualifying for round 3 of season 5 in DBF1. With Durkee on pole, a mighty gap to the next car, but Durkee's very quick in qualifying, but it's all about the race. The points are scored, well, not in DBF1 they're not, the points are scored on the Saturday and the Sunday also. So our points in qualifying are 8 to 1 for P1 to 8, a bit like a sprint race in Formula 1. So that'll be C Durkee with an 8-point advantage to anyone that's not in the top 8. Very good from Daniel Puyo on that though, up in P2 on the front row. That gives him a good start for the race. So our lineup for the grid is Durkee in P1, Daniel Puyo at P2, Sheck Weiss 3rd, Deck P4, Jess with a great qualifying up in P5, Vitinho in P6, probably expect him to be a bit higher, Tony P in 7th, Chris Johnson 8th, Baza 9th, Jack Craig in 10th, that rounds out the top 10. James in 11th, Scottish Goat in 12th, Ryan Berry, who did his lap on the mediums, in 13th, Mick Shue in 14th, and K11, K81 is in 15th. Bit of a Red Bull sandwich there, but you know that second Red Bull seat, it's a bit slower than the front one, so we don't expect much from it. But we should be in for a good race around here. I'm not 100% sure how many laps this race is going to be because I was called in very, very last minute, so I have had 0 time to prepare for this. But I'm sure we will make do with what we have. I'm actually saying that Jess has had a great qualifying session, but Jess is actually leading the championship by 5 points to Daniel Puyo, so maybe that wasn't a great qualifying session for Jess. But it's good to see her up in P4, I think it was, or P5. So Jess is leading our championship with 37 points to Daniel Puyo in P2 with 32 points. Tony P only 1 point behind in 3rd, Deck with 30 points in P4. Very close between the top runners. Chris Johnson's on 27, Jack Craig 26, Vitinho on 24, Weiss on 22, James on 13, as well as Jake is also on 13, Sailgram on 4, and the rest are yet to score points. Got McLaren leading the constructors with 53 points, with Quicksilver on 50, Williams on 46, with a 1 point advantage over Ferrari on 45, 31 points for Haas with a point advantage over Aston Martin. But the red lights are on, 5 lights, and we are underway for the Japanese Grand Prix as Durkee gets a very good start with Danica Wheelnut following behind. Isn't close enough to make a move, but we have got let's get good at one. Acor and P4, I think the positions are pretty much as we started, so we've all made it through turn 1, thankfully. We've got Scottish Goat, I think's made a position up on Jack Craig. Let's see. Oh man, there we go. Scottish Goat making 3 positions up on the start there, as well as Mick Schumacher. Vittino dropping 7, potentially some damage for him as we head into the hairpin here. Nice and tidy. See where Durkee is, a 1.3 advantage to Daniel P. Wheelnut already. Not looking good for Daniel P. Wheelnut. He needs to be on the pedal a bit more if he wants to close that gap to Durkee. Looking very clean. We've got a bit of a battle going on at the back here between Baza and Scottish Goat up to 130R. Are they going to hang it round? They are. As Baza almost goes off circuit there. But a very good overtake from Scottish Goat heading into the final couple of corners of lap 1. As Durkee remains just under 1.3 seconds ahead, so very good from Durkee. As long as he stays in the race, that'll be pretty good for him, as Vittino's got past Mick Schu into turn 1. Not what he would have wanted for the start of his race, but these things happen in Formula 1. But we've got Deck, who's just hanging in Daniel's DRS. He wants to stay there if he wants to get that advantage on the mediums going. Daniel also on the mediums as well as Durkee. There we go. So our top 4 runners are on the mediums to start the race, with Jess on the hards, with 3 behind her on the mediums, and Baza's on the hards. Jack Craig taking a gamble on the softs. Bit strange, wouldn't have gone for that strategy, but I'm sure McLaren know what they're doing. With James on the hards and the remaining 4 on the mediums. So everyone looking to box a bit earlier on this lap, especially on this race, as our race strategies actually come up. So we're saying lap 11, lap 15 on the mediums for soft, lap 11 to lap 18 for hard for soft. So going for the quicker tyre at the end for our strategies, but not a lot of people have gone for that, so I'm sure everyone knows what they're doing. As Deck's actually taking the fastest lap, so he's looking pretty quick, as Daniel has closed a mega gap to Durkee, who has got a lot of battery, so that could explain why. Scottish Goat has just got past 3 people, so I'm sure we'll find out in the steward's room if that was a bit dodgy. But he's on a bit of a charge at the moment. He's made a lot of positions up here as he's chasing down Tony P for P6. See, our closest battle at the moment looks like Jess on Sheck Lace, looking very quick. Even on the hard tyres, you'd think that there'd be a bit more of a gap here, but Jess has also got the pace over Waze. He's using the battery a little bit to catch up to A4 and doesn't want to drop out of that DRS. That would really ruin his race, especially with Deck looking pretty feisty as he heads towards 130R behind Daniel Wheelnut. Not close enough to maybe make a move, but definitely close enough to potentially make a move into turn 1, especially with Daniel Wheelnut out of Durkee's DRS for the straight. Tony P just dropping a little bit out of Jess's DRS, so that'll give Scottish Goat a very good run on him in turn 1. Scottish Goat looking very, very quick this race. As he takes the fastest lap, so that just confirms it even more. So Acorn getting close to Daniel as he goes for the move in turn 2. Doesn't quite have the traction there, so he can't get the jump on Daniel, but he's in a very good position for the next overtaking opportunity. Pretty close for the field spread at the moment. Maybe not for the Red Bull down to 15th, but everyone else looking pretty good. Maybe some damage for that car yet. Front right end plate is gone. So we'll jump back on with Jess. She looks pretty quick. Tony has caught up to her quite a bit that lap, so maybe the cars ahead holding up a little bit. The dirty air is horrible around Japan, so completely understandable. The waist is looking pretty close between these top 2, 3, 4 positions. Everyone in DRS from Daniel to Scottish Goat, so that's looking pretty good for these guys. Jack Craig in the DRS of his teammate Chris, but Chris a bit back on Scottish Goat. Tony P has dropped out of the DRS to Jess, so it could be a good run for Scottish Goat then turn 1. Dex looking very quick, right on the diffuser of Daniel P. pushing him round that final corner as he goes for the move. Easy for Dex there, as Sheckway's maybe having a look around the outside of turn 1 into turn 2. Really low on the battery there, so maybe wanting to save a bit of that throughout the lap for that straight. Maybe not helping him with such little battery. But Jess just sitting tight on her hard tyres. Going to the end, she will have a mega tyre advantage at the end of the race on those medium tyres, should she go on them. Or the softs if you're going by F1 strategies, but we know what Cody's are like. They do throw some wonderful things into these games. Scottish Goat, maybe he has got past Tony, so that's good for him. Up to P6, pretty good for him. I can't remember where we start. P6 position, so from P12 to P6 in 5 laps, very good. Looking like a Nico Hulkenberg-esque drive from the Scottish Goat. Scottish Goat obviously disguised as Ali B by the looks of it, the goat of DBF1. But we've got a bit of a drop here. Danny Puilnat is almost just out of DRS, but as he crosses the detection line he's still in it. But Acorn looking very quick. He is doing what Danny Puilnat couldn't do, and he's caught up to Durkee and he's in that DRS. So that's looking good for him. Maybe what's saying a bit of that battery, Durkee is just cruising on his medium tyres. Look at that battery compared to Acorn's. It is nowhere near as powerful. As Chris Johnson is re-overtaking Jack Craig for P8, so a bit of a McLaren civil war happening for P8 there. Jess still behind Sheckways, just biding her time I would say. She's got a 40% advantage on the battery. The top 2, 3 and 4 positions are on very low ERS, so Jess definitely biding her time on that hard tyres. Knows that she doesn't really need to make any mega moves, doesn't need to be the hero. She knows that she's going to have the advantage on these guys come the end of the race. Maybe that soft tyres for Jack Craig maybe just not working like he thought they would, maybe not taking him up through the grid as much as he thought, as Scottish Goat goes a bit wide there on the exit of the screen curve. It sounded like he was having a bit of gearbox issues there, but never know. As Sheckways looks to go down the inside at turn 16 on Danny Puilnat, he's forced him off there. I would potentially say as Danny Puilnat has to cut the corner to not rejoin unsafe, sorry. I think it's going to be a DRS battle here for Jess and Danny Puilnat. She goes down as it cuts on the grass. Not good for Jess. Luckily for her, Scottish Goat has dropped back a little bit. as Jack Craig is our first driver to enter the pit lane on those soft tyres. He's going to want off them. He's going to put some new boots on, most likely the hards, especially with what, that's 13-12 laps to go here at Suzuka. He's going to want to put the hard tyres on. I would say yards, yep, hard tyres for Jack Craig, so maybe the softs for him not taking him as far into this race as he thought they might. The Scotch Goat is not looking as composed as he did at the start of this race. He's looking a bit slidey, so maybe not pushing as hard as he was, maybe overheat the tyres and it's just causing him havoc now. But Czech Waste looking like our closest battle on the track. Actually, sorry, Vitinho looks like he's going to have a very good run on Chris Johnson at the turn. There's no turn 15, 130R, that's what we all know it as Baza is following very closely behind Vitinho, so maybe Jack Craig getting out of the way on those disgusting softs, maybe helping these guys out a bit as Vitinho looks to make a move on Chris Johnson at turn 16, as Daniel Piwilna has come into the pit lane to get rid of those medium tyres. As Vitinho, easy move for Vitinho there on the McLaren. No DRS for the McLaren. As Baza gets past also. So Chris Johnson losing out on 2 positions there. Where will Daniel Piwilna come out? He does not want to get stuck behind anyone. He's got a good gap there for the year. So by the time he catches up to them, they will definitely come in at that point. So he's out in 13th right now, so that gives him a 23.5 second gap to Durkee. So he wants to, I think he was maybe 2 seconds back from Durkee when he pit, so he wants to have a good out lap here and try and get the undercut on Durkee. Baz is looking pretty close to Vitinho here, but we'll go up to Czech Waste, heading out of one spoon curve down to 130R. Czech Waste has always been very quick on these games. I had a battle with him on a different league. We will not give them camera time as they are scam, but as he's looking very good battles with Czech Waste, so he's a very clean driver. But he's going to have a good run on deck here, as neither of them pit. A bit shaky out of the final corner there for Waste. Maybe not as good a run as he would hoped. But Jess, with her tyre advantage here, maybe go another three laps on these tyres and still have a good advantage on these guys. As the team guy Baza has passed Vitinho, a very low battery for these guys. They're going to want to save that if they're thinking about fighting each other. As Chris Johnson is into the pit lane, I think he was on mediums, so he's going to want to get out there on the hards, get a good lap. Doesn't want to be passed by his teammate, but it's looking like it's going to be very close on the pit exit. Maybe not that close. So Chris Johnson still ahead of Jack Craig. Jack Craig, not the race he would have wanted, stuck behind his teammate. He's definitely going to contemplate that tyre strategy. But Alpha Jess looking very good, in a good position here. Bit of a good advantage on battery for her as she heads through the spoon. A bit wide there for Czech Waste, getting on a bit too much curb, more than he would have wanted to have taken. But looking like he's going to have a good run on deck into 130R. Maybe not close enough to make a move, but we'll see. Maybe he looked like he wanted to go down the inside there, and he is going to go down the inside. Is he going to box though? Is he going to pit? Nope, he is not. So maybe holding deck up a little bit there on the exit, but Czech Waste has got DRS, so easy stuff for him. Alpha Jess going to make her way through as well. Maybe not using the battery, so she's obviously not looking for the move. This deck now goes into the hunt for Czech Waste to get that P2 back. Durkee, 100% battery, absolutely easy for Durkee, 1.4. Oh, a Czech Waste has gone off! He's gone off the circuit, maybe run wide into the grass. His deck's going to go down the inside and contact, and they're both in the gravel. There, as they rejoin the track, Sheck Waste, look at that, tyres, they are cooking with gravel and dirt. So he's going to, and he's hit Tony P into the chicane. He's done a Perez on Magnussen in 2024. Not good for Sheck Waste, not a good sector 2 for him. Deck recovered okay, I suppose. He's going to want to pit, get rid of that tyres now. They are going to be minion after going through that gravel track. But as they're padding on quite over half race distance with these tyres, I would definitely say they're going on to soft. So obviously I don't have enough experience on this game. And tyre strategies, you know, they're pretty close behind Baza. These two having a good battle for P7, maybe not the positions they would have wanted, but the positions they're in. So they'll just have to deal with it. As Scottish Goat has received a penalty, the deck is in. As Tony P falls, so does Sheck Waze. Baza's going to get past these two, and Waze has got a 10-second speeding penalty. Not what he would have wanted at all. That's going to really ruin his race. Not good. So Vittino's got ahead of F1 Baza. Daniel Puilna is, yeah, he's jumped all these guys in the pit lane, so definitely the undercut's definitely worked. And maybe some team orders going on at Kick Sauber. Hopefully James, for Jess's sake, is going to hold up these guys a little bit so that when she comes out of the pits they're not going to get the undercut on her. They are on the soft tyres though for Acorn. Tony P on the soft, Sheck Waze is on the hard. Very strange tyre strategy from Sheck Waze. Definitely would have been better off on the soft tyres. Maybe he did 4 runs or didn't pick the softer compound, softer allocation for qualifying, as he's received a 3-second time penalty. It gets bad to worse for Sheck Waze around this Japanese Grand Prix, as Acorn has got past Gamer James on the hunt for his teammate now, as I'm sure will not give him much of a battle. Maybe going to give him some DRS help, I would say so, because he's slowing, or maybe not, I'm looking at the wrong gap. Ryan Bailey looking pretty close to Daniel Puilna, but Daniel Puilna on the well pressure tyres, as Scottish Goat and Dirty are in. Dirty with a maximum battery, and Scottish Goat on half life. So Dirty is just cruising out there. Oh, he's stuck. Dirty? Oh, bit of glitching from the game there, I would say. Nothing unusual from a Codemasters game. Jess is leading these lap 12 of this Grand Prix. She's on hard tyres, so she's going to have a mega advantage on these guys. Dirty on the hards as well, who's come out of the pit lane, as well as Sheck Waze. So those two going for the same strategy. We'll see how that works out for these guys. Daniel on the hard tyre. His is a few laps older. So Daniel has hit 4 laps ago, so definitely going to be some tyre play in there for these guys. Let's get that off the screen. So maybe not the race Daniel was hoping for, maybe some setup issues for him, maybe not, maybe this is just his pace. Definitely got a good undercut on the likes of Deck, 2.5 seconds to them guys. Scottish Goat looking very feisty on those soft tyres, maybe feeling it again. Trying to make up some more positions from his P12 start. We've got Tony P also in this battle for P5. But we do still have Alpha Jess and Baza to pit, so it's really the battle for P3, just P4, just before the podium. But with Scottish Goat with that penalty, I think it's just a 3 seconds that we'll see Tony P gain that position if he can stay within that penalty. Scottish Goat's going to go down the inside of the deck into turn 1. Very quick there, a bit on the grass there for Scottish Goat. That blinking red light on the battery charge. Wants to have enough battery to defend from Deck. Very quick driver Deck, so you're going to want all the help you can get We've got Tony P still in this battle here, so we'll not count him out for P4. We've got Durkee has gained a lot of time on Daniel P, but he's not necessarily pushing very hard because that battery, he's not using it at all, really. But Jess, heading up to 130R, she's going to want to think about pitting at some point. She doesn't want to get that gap to get these guys behind to start catching up before she wants to have enough time on her new set of tyres as she comes in. She does come in. She's going to want to watch out for that pit lane speedo as she does not do a check waste, so that's good for her. Definitely going to be a good position for her, potentially a podium, as long as she can get these next set of tyres into a good working window. We'll go back down to Tony P as these guys head onto the straight. With DRS, a good run out of the final corner for Tony P. Going to be a move here potentially as Deck has just shot off at a rate of knots. Alpha Jess going to come out ahead, yes, very good, ahead of Scottish Goat. So Jess in a net P3 on the road here. She's going to have mega tyres over Danny Fiona, so this is going to be a great result for Jess here. She's got a tyre advantage over Durkee as well, but does she have the pace to catch up? She's got 5 laps to go, so can she close that 3.1 second gap to Durkee? We will see. She's gone a bit deep out of Degna 2. That's going to give Scottish Goat a move into the hairpin as Jess battles back. She's not giving up, she wants that position back. What can she do? She's not got a very good run out of there, taking that tighter line, so Scottish Goat can have a good run on down to the speed curve. But a good battle here. We've got everyone in the DRS from 3rd to 7th, so it's very tight here. Not good for Scottish Goat, he's going to lose out at quite a bit with that time penalty. But, Jack Craig, a bit far back than his teammate. Not what he would have wanted around here, not what he would have wanted at all in this race. That his teammate Chris Johnson catching up to Coutinho on the soft tyres, so I'm not sure how long he's been on them for. 3 laps younger tyres on the Coutinho soft. But we'll head back to Acorn, who's doing a bit of tyre warming, a bit of weaving. I'm sure the stewards might have a bit to say about that if Tony P reports it. Probably not a lot affecting him doing that, but maybe too many moves off the line. But looking very good here for Scottish Goats. Made a move, I completely missed that, so apologies to anyone watching. It's looking pretty good as Baza's got a penalty now, 3 seconds, but Durkee is catching a lot to Baza, sorry. He's running on his 14 lap old tyres. So whereabouts will Baza come out? Baza looking potentially behind Jack Craig in P12, so not what he would have wanted. Maybe there's a little bit of maybe Max Verstappen going to Mercedes helping out here. Help out your new teammate. As Baza not making it easy for the Red Bull driver as he isn't. So Durkee gonna have DRS from Baza there, but we'll jump on with Deck, see if we can see any moves from the 4 cars ahead. Maybe Deck going to make a move on Tony P here, who has not got DRS. Easy move for Deck there. We've got Danny Wheelnut a bit too far back from Jess for the podium position, the final podium position. But a bit of deja vu here from last Sunday. A kick Sauber in P3. What is going on? Definitely not the car, definitely the driver. As we've got a yellow flag in sector 2, which is a red road and something. But Jess looking for a good result here, P2, because of Scottish Goat's 3-second time penalty, so not what he would have wanted. Maybe he's going to hold her up a bit, maybe try and play some games. try and hold it up, make sure she loses out on some positions, maybe to some of the guys that have got less points than her. As the likes of Danny Fiona and Acorn, try and bring it a bit closer in the championship between them guys, although it's extremely close as it is, so we don't need any help with that. But looking like a great battle here. Shekways about to join this battle, but he's gonna gain absolutely nothing. He's still gonna lose out to cars behind with 13 seconds worth of penalties for him. As Alpha Jess going down the inside, thinks better of it on Scottish Goat. She's gonna give herself a better run out of the final corner with DRS as well. We'll jump on with Tony P, or maybe not a bit too far back. We'll jump on with Deck, see if we can see any cars sticking it out to make a move. Jess maybe thinking about it, a bit scruffy there looking. Maybe both cars getting a bit unnervy there. She's got Danny Fiona. It's just biding his time, I would say. He's not got a lot of battery compared to the likes of Jess and Acorn. Maybe Acorn saving a bit, seeing if he can get a jump after the final few laps on Daniel, get that extra position. Once he'd actually, Deck will be on the podium if he can get past Daniel, as with Scottish Goat's penalty. Daniel holding on to that final podium position. No moves into the hairpin. This is we've got Ryan Berry, 3/10 off Mick Shue. We'll give these guys a bit of screen time, see what he can do through the Degnas. We're going to have no moves. As Mick Shue gets onto the grass a little bit on the exit of Degna 2, Ryan Berry is very deep. Not going to be a good run out for him, so we will leave that where it is. Looking like the Red Bulls are very close, so could be a bit of team games there. I'm not sure why. Very, very far ahead for Berkeley. Alpha Jess has got past on the exit 130 yards. Totally missed that. Apologies. But she should get a Scottish Goat's got another penalty, so that's going to drop it even further back. That's not good for him. But Jess with the penalty, sorry, not the penalty, the DRS, so she's going to have no need to defend from cars behind. Dan Fiona looking very close there at Scottish Goat, maybe going a bit too deep as Baza has got the fastest lap. Not sure if we're doing fastest lap points in DBF1, though it is technically a 2025 game, so you wouldn't expect it, as we've got an Alpine, not an Alpine round, just a drop in opposition and a yellow flag, just assumed it was him. But Scottish Goat dropping off of Jess here. Going to be out of the DRS, I would say, so we're just going to give Danny Fiona a great advantage on getting that definitely PT position. Better to do it on the road. You don't want to be gaining positions through penalties. You want to do it on the road. So, fastest lap, there is no point for fastest lap. So, that is real low. That is a bit very realistic. Scottish Goat 1.5 off as the Red Bull gets out of the way nicely. Very good from him. We don't, although you ghost on F1 the game, you don't want cars in your way, especially when the lap is extremely distracting. But Danny Fiona can have a great run on Scottish Goat here. Not that he needs it, he's going to get the position anyway. It's the last lap. No, it's not. No, Turkey's on his last lap. It's the last lap now. So Danny Fiona not having a very good run there. I thought he would have been a bit better than that. Deck maybe he's got pretty similar batteries for these guys, so we're going to want to save that for the exit of Spoon Curve. That's really their only straight run they're going to have, unless one of these guys makes a mistake. As Deck, speaking of, commentator's curse, that's a front wing end plate gone. Apologies, Deck. I will take the blame for that. Shekways is now on the back of Tony P, which these guys are kind of not done much in the last few laps, but they're staying. They're like, they look at that. They're in the right place at the right time. They've got past Deck, who's made that mistake. So Tony P's going to bring that battery, looking going to get as close as he can, try and make an overtake on Daniel P. Wilner. Can't see it happening though. But Daniel P not going to have to make the overtake. in these final few corners as due to the penalty ahead, so he will get P3. Sheckley is going to drop a few positions, potentially down to P9 as Barbara's got a penalty, so not good for Sheck, not what he would have wanted. Apologies, Durkee, as you cross the line. Durkee has won the Japanese Grand Prix. Very good for him, very good for his title charges. Jess in P2, Dan Puyonat takes P3 with Tony in P4. Scottish Gold gutted, he got that penalty, it would have been a podium for him, but P5. Coutinho in P6, Deck, really bad for him on that last lap. Dropped for 3 positions, so not what he would have looked for at all that race. Really gutting for him, he was looking pretty feisty on every lap of this race, so not good for him. Deck, Chris Johnson in P8 and everyone else is gone, so I'll get them once we get to the race directory. Checkways P9, there you go. There we go. Durkee takes that, whatever that mobile phone is, onto the podium to get a selfie on the Japanese Grand Prix podium. Very good from Durkee, that was just cruising out there, he did not need to push at all. He got his DRS, he got the gap to the DRS behind, and that was all he needed. He's going to be delighted with that. Jess on the podium, good for her title hopes. Very good, that's what she needs, is these podium results. With Dan Puyonat, he'll be delighted with a podium. Definitely what he would have wanted as a Scottish GOAT with driver of the day. So we'll do it properly this time. We've got Durkee in P1 for the win. Started first, led every lap. I'd say that's a grand. Oh no, it's not. It's not a Grand Slam. Never mind. Jess in P2, Dan Puyonat third, Tony P fifth, Scottish GOAT fourth. Sorry, Scottish GOAT fifth. Vitinho in sixth. Acorn in seventh, not good for him, not what he would have wanted for that last lap incident. Chris Johnson 8th, Shickley's 9th, Baza 10th, Jack Craig 11th, Ryan Berry 12th, Mick Shue 13th, James 14th, sorry, and K11, KA1 in 15th, not what he would have wanted at all in that race. No one wants to come last, but someone's got to. But we will head to Jeddah, the Corniche circuit. I'm pretty sure it might be one shot qualifying. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yep, it is one shot qualifying. So it'll be one shot qualifying and a shorter race, 25% race around the Jed Bahrain. Don't know if I didn't think it was Bahrain. I thought it was Jeddah. Never mind. I got it wrong. Sorry for disappointing if I have. So, if Jack Craig is on the ball, we should have some updated driver standings. Let's have a looky. Oh, adverts, shocker. On our app, let's have a look. So it was Bahrain, Saudi Arabia is next week. My apologies there. No, Jack Craig is not on the ball as fast as I thought he would have been. Let me get my Bahrain track map up. I had my Jeddah track map up, but that's a week early, unfortunately. Right, we have got some updated standings for the Japanese Grand Prix. So, with Durkee's win, that has put him up to a solid P8, tied on points with Jack Craig for P8, obviously on countback. But Jess has got definitely, she's lost her advantage a little bit slightly to Daniel P. Jess is on 56 points to Daniel P's 51. Tony P on 43, Deck on 40, so just 3 points behind, looking pretty close. But Chris Johnson, 5th place in the championship on 34 points, a point ahead of Vitinho, with Sheck Wace on 31 points, a point ahead of Durkee and Jack Craig, with James and 14th, with 14 points in 10th. With Jake, who isn't here, unfortunately, on 13, so no points for him tonight, obviously. We've got Geo Mac in P12 on 10 points, Baza with 5 points, so that's good for him. He's got points now. Stereogrammer still on 4, obviously, and Ryan Berry on 3, with Merkel with 12, Merkel being McShoe in the Alpine. We've got some updates in the constructor standings as well. Sauber have overtaken McLaren, so that's 70 points for Sauber, 64 for McLaren and Ferrari and Williams. So looking very close there in the constructors. Very good team picks, I will say. We've got Aston Martin on 43 as well as Haas. We've got Red Bull with 30 points, Durkee being what looks to be like a one-man band. We've got Alpine on 12 with Mercedes with 9, and Racing Bulls have got absolutely hee-haw. So we've got one shot qualifying round Bahrain for getting ready for the 25% Grand Prix, I believe. It's like 14 laps. So I think we'll stick with Durkee, who's very good at qualifying, so we want to see a quick lap round here, around the 15 cornered circuit. 6 to the left, I believe. That would leave 9 to the right. But we will see who takes pole. We will try and get with Durkee as quickly as possible. We don't want to be flying around drivers because it's a nightmare in one-shot qualifying, as a lot of time it doesn't move very quick. Cody's game, I know. Well, not expecting much from a Cody's game. But we will wait for the drivers to get ready for one-shot qualifying. Not on we are away, so let's find Durkee. Durkee, spectate. There we go. Heads down to turn 1. Looking. Oh, the order just flying around everywhere. He's looking in P2 at the moment of shit ways at the front up. So, as we head up to turn 4, Durkee looking pretty quick. Probably not where he'd want to be, as he's usually very fast in qualifying. Checklist, I know, is very quick around here. He's got himself up and we're down to turn 8 hairpin. Ready to get down onto this straight and open the DRS. Looking very quick. You want to brake pretty early there. You don't want to lock up and go off track. That is not a good idea. As he opens the DRS, wide open as he heads into turn 11. Looking good for him at the moment. Sheck Waste still looking good too. Scottish Goat up in P3 for the time being. That's where he would want to be. As he gets up and fighting with Sheck Waste for that second front row position. Durkee heads into the second final corner, 14. Looking pretty good. Not kind of the final corner, that's kind of the corner as well, but not really one. But Durkee looking good. What a gap he has got. Just under 5 tenths to P2. Very good from him. That's what he would have wanted. If he wants to win this championship, he needs to get these qualifying done. So that's 8 points for Durkee there. For coming in P1, but we'll get our order. Durkee P1, obviously, with a very, very healthy gap to P2 of almost half a second, to Alpha Jess locking out the front row. Sheck Wace and Baza sharing the second row. Daniel P and Chris Johnson sharing row 3. Scottish Goat and Vitinho better qualifying for Scottish Goat, sharing row 4. James and Tony P sharing the final top 210 positions. Sorry. Acorn in P11, Ryan Berry is a Aston Martin 6th row, Jack Craig in P13, not what he would have wanted, Mick Shue in 14th, and K11, K81 in 15th, with our one and only DSQ from qualifying. So, looking relatively close to everyone, bar Durkee, who is just light years ahead of everyone, it would appear. So, hopefully, for entertainment purposes, Durkee isn't flying through this race like he did the last one. It's just cruising out there. Hopefully we get a good battle. Jess hopefully going to give him a good battle into turn 1. Hopefully she gets a good start and gets into that front position, tries to hold him up a bit, give everyone else a fighting chance, because as soon as Durkee gets going, he is gone. So we're just waiting for all these drivers to get ready, getting ready for their pre-race briefings and making sure they've got all their tyres inflated and wheels on and gloves on and just getting ready to go. Getting their mindset ready for the race around this 14 lap Grand Prix around Bahrain. As we are on the grid, and it is 5 lights are on and they are gone, and we are racing around Bahrain as Durkee looks like he's got a good start. Maybe not. Jess has got an even better one for him, as Sheck Waste has even got an even better start. We're going a few wide into turn 1 as Scottish Goat, looked like he was going for a move there on Sheck Waste, but Jess leads this Grand Prix as Sheck Waste looks for a move on Durkee up in turn 4, and it looks like he's got that done. He has got that finished. As Scottish Goat looks like he's potentially looking for a move, but Durkee on the power a bit quicker than him. Jack Craig is going down, as so has Vitinho, as Mick Shue and Vitinho's been spun round. This is not good for the start of the race. Deck has made a few positions up there, that's good for him, but a few collisions at the start there, not what we want around DBF1, but these things happen in Formula 1. But the front 3 opening 1.3 gap to Scottish Goat, that's what they want if they want to get him out of the DRS. He is very quick, as we've just seen in Suzuka, but looking pretty close still. Not a lot, well, for lap 1, a bit of field spread, but hopefully Jess and Sheck Waste have got enough pace to hold up Durkee and hold him behind, so that this is a bit more of an entertaining race than the previous one. Scottish Goat just getting back into that 1 second gap to Durkee, so he'll have DRS for the next lap. Baza maybe going to catch up. Yeah, he's been that time in that 1 second, so everyone to Ryan Berry is going to have DRS on this lap, so very good for these guys if they want to be making overtakes. This is anyone's game at the moment. Durkee maybe not in the position he'd want to be, considering he did start on the highest position, so, but you know, it's early yet. We've got 13 laps to go, as he's looking pretty quick through sector 1, the end of sector 2, sorry. He's looking for a move on Sheck Waste, maybe going to make a move down the inside of this corner here, as he thought about it, he definitely thought about it. Sheck Waste is going to pray that he's got DRS, which he does not have DRS, 2 Jess ahead, so this is going to leave Durkee with his DRS wide open, opening a gap to Scottish Goat behind. As we head up to turn 13, Jess leading this race still. Very great start for her. This is going to be what she wanted. Get some tyres on, let's see what everyone's strategy is. So Jess actually on the slower of the 2 tyre compounds that we have running here. Sheck Waste on the quicker of the 2, and Durkee, maybe explain Durkee's not as good start compared to the cars ahead, as Jess has opened up a gap, a 1.1 second gap check way, so that is going to be, she's clear of DRS. As Durkee has made his way past Checkways up for that P2 position. Maybe the soft tyres not looking like they're switching on as much as they might want. Checkways, that battery is looking pretty empty, my friend, as Durkee is also looking pretty empty. Jess is looking pretty good up front there, a bit squirmy there on the exit of turn 4 for her. Durkee in the DRS now as he is set first, fastest first sector on this lap. So maybe the soft's not looking as quick as people might have thought. So we've got a battle here on the right with Ryan Berry on Tony P for PA. Maybe not close enough here, but a bit of a DRS train, so probably not going to be able to make a position up this time round. Tony P on Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson must be running pretty low wings because he's got pretty good straight line speed. But we'll go back with Durkee as we head down to the final few corners to start lap 4 of this Grand Prix. Hopefully for Jess's sake, she's running low wings and she doesn't get past by Durkee just yet, because we do not want him to run away with it. We've got Checkways, got a very good exit from the final corner as he has got DRS this time. Not a lot of battery though, but he is looking like he's going to make a move on Durkee in turn 1, going down the inside. Not as confident as Durkee on the brakes, maybe more confident. He's got it bang on there. Durkee hanging around the inside, and Checkways braking perfectly. What am I on about? He's got a DRS as well. Just maybe takes out that cone. Obviously didn't like the look of that, obviously offended him. But he's now losing to Jess, so maybe letting Durkee stay ahead for Checkways' sake is going to give him that DRS, because Jess is looking as he gets a bit early on the power there. Just going to give Durkee a great run into this corner here as he thinks better of it. He's too early to making silly moves like that. You don't want to be taking out your competitor as much as sometimes we want to. But Durkee on the DRS, Checkways on the back savings, and he's almost gone into the back of Checkways, Durkee that is. So that's now a pretty big gap now to the car ahead for Durkee's out of the DRS. They all are, so we've only got DRS from 3rd to 4th, so Baza just out of it a bit, maybe due to the fact that Scottish Goat is on the softer tyres, so maybe not getting the runs out of the corners that Baza would like. But we're going to have Daniel Fiona, who is on the soft tyres, so a good exit from that corner on the battery. Going to just fly past Baza, with his DRS, but Baza going to have that DRS on the run up to turn 4, Chris Johnson looking for a bit of action here as well. Durkee did catch up to Checkways, so he's back in DRS now, so Durkee obviously extremely quick around here. Baza's got back to move back, but he's gone deep, and Chris Johnson's actually going to benefit from that as well, as Baza is hanging around the outside. He's still going to be on the outside, but he has to succeed the position to Chris Johnson, who is on the faster tyres, so he will be the softer tyre compound, so he will be pitting earlier. But this is looking like a great battle for the P5 down to P9, battling it out for a position, as Durkee has got past Checkways under the DRS, so that's good for Durkee's race. He's going to want to close that 2-second gap to Jess, who's just doing everything she can to stay ahead of Durkee, which is what she needs. If Durkee's going to be winning races, Jess needs to be winning races also. She has got one race to win this season, not in round 2 in China, so Jess looking pretty quick this season. Checkways is going to have DRS on Durkee on the run to turn 1. It's got a pretty rough exit from that turn 15, so not what he would want. Scottish Goat looking at that blinking red light, but the car behind him, Daniel Fiona, isn't close enough, but Scottish Goat's going to have his blinking red light as well, as Acorn has pit on the medium tyres. So maybe damage for him. Yeah, that front right end plate is gone on that front wing. So front wing change for him. The Sheik Waste has got back ahead and missing all these moves. Apologies everyone watching. Missing great moves as Durkee was thinking about hanging it around down the inside there. But thought better of it. Not worth it yet. But he's going to have a good run on the next straight up to turn 11 with the DRS. Obviously Sheckways with nothing. These guys fighting is just giving Jess even more of an advantage. So she's going to be delighted with this. She's going to be on the quicker compound at the end of the race than these guys. Well, especially Sheckways, like the Scottish Goat and Dan Corona, also in the softs. She's going to have a great advantage to these guys. But Chris Johnson, looking at the back of Daniel Puelna, looking for that position. Maybe the soft just coming off a little bit. Maybe that's why we've seen a gap to from Sheckways to Jess. Scottish Goat catching up here at these guys. Maybe these guys fighting is just allowing these guys to catch up a bit. But look at that battery. Look at that battery advantage on Durkee's car compared to Sheckways. It's not good for him as Dan Corona is in the pit lane. Is Durkee. Durkee has saved his overtaking for up the run up to turn 4. He knows he's going to have the DRS. He knows he's got the battery advantages. Sheckways gets a bit early on the power there, so this is going to be easy for for Durkee. Sorry, as Scottish Goat looking for the move as well on Sheckways. So this is a three-way battle here for the second podium position. Chris Johnson hoping he can catch that, but I can't see that happening with that 2.7 gap. As it is closing down, sorry, so we're not counting him out. Gamer James is in the pits as well, he's on the hard tyre. But Dan Corona has gone on to the mediums, apologies, and Acorn Deck has gone on the soft tyres. So we'll see what these guys can do. Scottish Goat on the run for that final podium position for the time being. It's 4.5 tenths to the car ahead. He's going to have DRS. Sheckways not going to have DRS. So I would, using my unprofessional opinion, say that the tyres are gone. They are finito. Durkee getting that advantage out there like that tells me that your tyres are done race. As he does come into the pits, he has committed to the entry line, as he doesn't get a penalty like he did in the previous race, but the car behind him does. So that's Scottish Goat with another penalty, which is going to ruin his race again, because I don't think the grid is that far apart to be to help for him not to lose too many positions. But Baza looking for the move on Chris Johnson, maybe giving him a dummy move to maybe put Chris Johnson into making a little mistake there. But Sheckways does come out behind Jack Craig, so he's going to have a mega tyre advantage as Jack Craig's tyre is 7 laps old. Jack Craig will be having a nosebleed up in P8, so that's extremely high for him. But we've got Baza, who has Ryan Berry, sorry, looking pretty racy behind Baza. He has got DRS, but maybe running too many wings, not gaining as much as an advantage as we would have hoped with the DRS. Coutinho behind Mick Shue, he's got a DRS also. So it's calming down a bit. Now that we've split Durkee and Sheckways up until Durkee pits, it's calming down a bit. But Daniel Puelna on the back of Scottish Goat. This not really for position, as Scottish Goat has got that 10-second speeding penalty. But Daniel will want to get past and get out of that DRS, get out Scottish Goat out of the DRS. But a bit of DRS games going on here. We're reading Daniel lifting off the throttle there. Doesn't want Scottish Goat to get that penalty, but you'll probably find that he's actually lost more time to Tony P than he would have if he just overtook Scottish Goat. But we have got 3 cars in pits of Tony P, Mick Schumacher and Ryan Berry, so Daniel looking like a bit sliding there from him. Maybe that's a nice switch through. We've got Tony P on the back of this battle, and Chris Johnson looking like he's pretty racy coming out the pits there. This is looking good for these guys. There's not a massive gap to Sheck Waste, who is fighting Jack Craig. Not really Jack Craig gonna want to fight that one too hard because he's not really fighting Waste for position. So just let him go, get that, try and keep in the DRS for these next couple openings, and then box. You're going to want to come in at this lap if you want the tyres to actually do something. But Durkee not catching up to Jess as quick as we thought he would have. Most likely burn his tyres out fighting for, as Jess is in actually, so Durkee probably burning his tyres out fighting Sheck Waste. But they are both in there coming off of those 9-lap old medium tyres, coming in for some fresh booted softs, as Baza is also in. Vitinho looking like he's coming in as well, so Sheck Waste could be leading this Grand Prix depending on how good his outlap was. Most likely Jess will come out ahead, but it's looking like he might not come out ahead. He is going to, it's going to be close to Durkee on the exit in turn 1, but Sheck Waste should expect, I would say, some PRS, which he has got, so that's going to keep Sheck Waste in the hunt. So we've got Tony P potentially about to be passed by Scottish Gold, not really trying to maybe coax him into making a mistake there. But Sheck Waste, half a second, dropping that fly in time. Durkee does not want to come out of that DRS. That will really make him struggle for the rest of this race, which I would say he has. That's the detection line there. I don't think Sheck Waste is going to have DRS. Nope, he has not, so that's going to put him in trouble with Daniel P. Wheelnut. If he can gain 4 tenths, 5 tenths, Sheck Waste, I would say, using that, and he's got himself back into that 1 second. But Durkee on the softer compound, probably going to keep out of that. Jess setting a pretty good lap. Durkee also a fast sector 2. It's looking pretty good for P4 here, the battle. Got Tony P right on the back of it, so it's a 3-way battle for P4. Sheck Waste out of the DRS in turn 1, so we will stay on board with this battle here. Chris Johnson getting a really good run out of the final corner as he's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 31.2. As he just breezes past Daniel P. Wheelnut. What can Tony P do? He's a bit too far back. Daniel going to have the DRS on the run up to turn 4 on Chris Johnson, so maybe Chris going in a bit too early to make that move, but I would say he's got a pretty good gap to Daniel, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Tony P a bit too far back. We've got Ryan Berry on the back of Baza. He's got literally virtually no battery. Also did Baza. Acorn, not the race he would have wanted, especially with that. Well, even the last race as well, making that final lap mistakes really stunted his race last time. So he's not going to be happy with the P10, I would say. That we've got Tony P still in DRS. Looks like he's got a pretty good exit on that. Turn 12, I think it is. Turn 10, sorry. But not close enough to make the move on Daniel. Tony P with the quicker tyres, but I'm not too sure on how long I put the soft tyres last round here. I have not been playing this game. There's the controller again. I've not been playing this game as much as I usually would have, so I'm not sure on tyre strategies. As Jess has just set 30.8, that's 3 tenths, just over 3 tenths quicker. She's going to get a mega gap on Durkee. She is absolutely flying out there. That's a 5 second gap against Durkee. It was 3 when they pit, so that's a 2 seconds advantage in just 2 laps that Jess has got on Durkee. So looking good for her hopes for a win around the Bahrain Grand Prix. Tony P looking a bit too far back on Daniel P. Wheelnut, but Daniel still hanging in that DRS even though he's on 4 tyres compared to Chris Johnson. He's on 2 laps under soft tyres. That is gone a bit wide there. Daniel P maybe thinking about a move down the inside, but thinks better of it. He's going to have a good run up to turn 11 after he comes out of turn 10 with the DRS. Chris Johnson is catching up to Waze. This is looking pretty good. It's just going to be a Chris Johnson podium here, ladies and gentlemen. No moves. Mick Schumacher and James will stick with this if we can. Will we? It's just James just going a bit slidey there for James. We'll see if he can make the runs. Make sure on the battery saving. He's going to go up the inside of turn 11. James, can he make it stick? He can. He can indeed. So great move from James there in turn 11. He's going to save that battery. So he's got some defence on the straight in turn 1. We'll see if anyone pulls out from Scottish Goat's cockpit. As he's going to look for a move on Tony P. And it looks like he's got that in turn 1. Tony P, is he going to have the DRS to try and make a comeback move? He is not. Scottish Goat braking as good as Sheck wasted on that opening laps to get the DRS up to turn 4 ahead of the competitor. Down to Winnock going a bit deep on turn 4 there, so not getting as good a run as he would have wanted. Daniel P is our closest battle on track at the moment in the top 10. Chris Johnson not catching Sheck Wace as quick as he wants. He really needs to get into this 1 second buffer that Sheck Wace has got on top of him if he wants any hopes of getting a podium here tonight. As Durkee gets a 3-second time penalty, so that would put Durkee into P3. If Chris Johnson can hold a couple tenths on Durkee, this could see Chris Johnson gain a big move up to P3. Daniel P. Wilnut might put a stop to that as he's going to have DRS. Will he think about making a move? He's got a big battery advantage over Chris Johnson. Let's watch Tony P. Can he make any moves on Scottish Goat? I don't think so, but we'll stick with Daniel P. for the remainder of the race. We'll try and catch Jess coming around the final few corners for getting her win, because we didn't last race for Durkee. Daniel P trying to put Chris Johnson into making a mistake there by going down the inside like that. And it doesn't work for Chris. Chris is too smart for that sort of things. This next shoe further down has got ahead of James, but we'll stick with this at the moment. It's looking pretty close as someone's round. James has done a Grosjean bit on the opposite side. I'll stick with this. Daniel P on that Chris Johnson battle. This Durkee has just opened the back of that car up, and he is gone from Sheck Wace. He's opened a mega gap. Now he just needs to get another 1.5 tenths to him, and he will be safe. But we will jump on board with Alpha Jess as she comes round turn 14 and 15 for her second win of the season. This is looking great for her title hopes as she goes for a victory weave. And a great race from her. She led every lap of that race, I think. Don't quote me, I got that wrong last time. But Chris Johnson holds on to that P4 position as Waze gets ahead of Durkee. That penalty, look at that gap, nothing in it really. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. But with Daniel, he'll be gutted. He would have been really wanting that 4th place off of Chris Johnson. It was a great race from these guys. Tony P in 6th place, Baza in 7th, Ryan Berry in 8th, Vitinho not looking great tonight from Vitinho in P9, Acorn in P10, 11th for Scottish Goat, not what he would have wanted. That 10-second time penalty really not what he would have wanted. Jack Craig in 12th, not what he would have wanted either. 11 seconds to the car ahead, got in really for him. Nick Shue 13th, James in 14th, and K11 K80i. It is an I, not a 1, in 15th as he comes around the final corner to claim that 15th position. Well done, everyone. That was a much better battle, more entertaining race than the one previous. As K11 80i looking at with his Roscoe Lewis Hamilton helmet. Very nice. Very nice indeed. As Jess takes her second victory of the season in Bahrain. She'll be pretty happy with that. Second and first tonight for her. That is looking pretty good for her title hopes. She will be just delighted as she sprays the champagne. As Durkee and Sheck Ways on the podium with her, celebrating, just absolutely delighted with themselves. Tony P gets driver of the day with obviously Jess getting the fastest lap as well. Very good. Very, very good. We'll go through the order once again. We've done it already, but we'll do it again. Jess in P1, Wace in second, Durkee in P3, Chris Johnson with a fourth place just outside the podium, Daniel P. Wheelnut fifth, Tony P in sixth, Baza in seventh, Ryan Berry in eighth, Tino in ninth, Acorn to round out the top 10, Scottish Goat with that penalty, unfortunate for him in 11th, Jack Craig in 12th, Mick Shue in 13th, James in 14th, and K11 K80i in 15th. Good races tonight. Maybe some people going to be trying to do some track limits practice and not be getting track limit penalties. Not what you want. I mean, I could do that, but I'm not racing, so I don't need to. And pit lanes, don't be getting pit lane penalties if you want to win. It doesn't work. It's not good. But that is DBF1 Season 5, Round 3 and 4 complete. We will be back next week for Jeddah, and I'm not sure what the other track is. I'll quickly try to load it up. Oh, no, I've got an advert, 5 seconds. But it is Jeddah for round 1. Very good race around there. I have won that race myself in the previous season. So it is Jeddah and Miami. So going to be some good racing around there. I've not seen Miami on this game yet, so hopefully that'll be good. But I have been Lewis Craig, DBF1 winner. So yeah, I know what I'm doing. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.